Hello everyone, my name is Keb, and you're watching Chapter 4 of my Fire Emblem 12 Lunatic Mode Blind LTC. To see what I mean by Blind LTC, take a look at the description. But in short, this is my first time playing Lunatic, I have no long-term game plan, and I'm trying to achieve the lowest possible turn count that I can, one chapter at a time. Alright, let's go. Chapter 4 is a really nice change of pace compared to the snooze fests that were chapters 3 and 3x. It just feels like a really urgent map with lots of things to do and not enough turns to do them. I would say that the biggest challenge of this map on Lunatic mode is finding a way to use your new units. Neither Ogma nor Sirius can survive 2 Silver Axe hits even after a Rainbow Potion boost, which makes it very difficult to make reliable progress towards the gate since there are so many scary enemies in the way. Since our other units start so far away, having a competent Draco Knight is absolutely necessary if you don't want to just turtle through this one. Pala is the reliable option here, but Chris will surpass her in a Groves playthrough, especially if he got a lot of levels during the prologue, which mine did. Marth is going to be put in significant danger during this clear, since you'll have to charge through a lot of enemies to get to the gate. I did my very best to minimize Rainbow Potion uses, but this one is unavoidable. Ogma and Sirius will also be taking a swig when the chapter begins. As you can probably tell by the random garbage in Chris and now also Pala's inventory, we're setting up to do a convoy warp here. Despite his combat being much worse than Chris's, Aran will be playing a very crucial role during this clear as our secondary Draco Knight. While the preps are wrapping up, I want to take a moment to explain a bit about how the AI works in terms of movement order. In short, enemies are moved in ascending order based on their movement stat. Units with the same movement are moved according to deployment order. It's a bit more complicated than that, but that's really all we need to know for this particular map. Since all the enemies here have 6 movement except for the thieves, their movement order is essentially equal to the L switching order. This knowledge is going to be used to our advantage in order to survive several situations that would have otherwise been too dangerous. The first order of business is to deal with a small group of enemies near the starting position. The sand surrounding them makes this more difficult than it sounds, especially since our flyers don't really have the time to help out. They need to be pretty much full sending it towards Ogma's group in order to help clear the way to the gate for Marth. This Pala level up here is just insane. That's 2 points of speed and 2 level ups for her. And this is like my 5th attempt at recording the somewhat unreliable and very complicated first few turns, and luckily this is the one that stuck. Part of what makes this chapter so tough is the class cap of 3 flyers. Those 3 spots are quickly taken by Chris, Pala, and Aran, so Katria is kind of left behind to babysit the scrub squad as a cavalier. At least she gets a chance to farm some XP. Since this is a full recruitment LTC, we have no choice but to immediately rescue Marth and recruit Castor on turn 1. Marth has to gun it towards the gate right afterwards with very little wiggle room to achieve a 5-turn clear. The Rainbow Potion makes Ogma double all generics on the map, which is very helpful, but since our new units were not available during preps, we had to have Marth carry it over. Rescuing Marth over on turn 1 does mean that we have to sacrifice the Shaver Tome village, but we already have plenty of semi-decent bow users for now, and we'll be getting the Excalibur Tome eventually. Here is the first AI manip of the chapter. All of our units would crumble to dust if attacked by both the Barbarian and the Hunter, but Aran baits the Axe Dummy over while staying out of the Hunter's range. We knew that he would move first from L switching, and he opts to attack Aran because Aran only has 4 luck, which means that the Barbarian's 13th skill results in a 2% crit chance. This is the first and only necessary convoy warp of this clear. Ogma needs the Devil Sword to be able to deal with the nearby thief with some help from Ubello. This wouldn't have been needed if Ubello didn't have a personal magic base of -2, but he literally has 6 attack with his joining Fire Tome. Staying healthy is also a problem for this top group, which is why Marth had to also bring over the men's staff that Julian joined with back in Chapter 3. I'm equipping Castor with the steel bow here because we don't actually need any crits at any point during this clear. Imagine getting killed by Ubello. Ogma's base luck is pretty bad, so the Devil Sword has a backfire rate of 23% even after the Rainbow Potion boost. I meant to use the Iron Sword here, but apparently I can't tell up from down. Covering these forts on turn 2 is crucial on Lunatic mode, since ambush spawns will actually start to appear from them as early as turn 2 enemy phase. Castor had to spend the first 2 turns baiting out the 2 hunters that were in the immediate vicinity of Sirius. Our units are just way too weak to charge out of their little corner with them still alive. I made a mistake here by forgetting to heal Aran with Marisha before hitting the save point, but I decided to soldier onwards for the sake of Palace speed. You may have noticed that I forgot to give Medeus any weapons, but he's just such a great unit that he can still contribute, even if it's with his bare fists. I mean, just look at him bravely charging to the front lines. He's right up there with all-stars like Chris and Pala. Speaking of Chris, somebody needed to cover that middle fort by turn 3, or else more pirates would have started spawning. I know that Ebola has gotten a lot of last hits so far, but I promised that I would never use such a terrible unit if I had the choice. Now that Castor has eliminated those 2 hunters, we can finally recruit Sirius. Again, this is a pretty hard thing to do on Lunatic mode, since neither Ogma nor Sirius can take 2 hits. The Rainbow Potion is necessary to bring Sirius up to 6 luck, which is just enough to negate the pirate's crit. That lets him get through this enemy phase untouched, which is important because he needs to be healthy enough to take a swing at the boss later. The only way to deal with this final group of enemies is to just AI manip their figurative brains out. Pala has the lowest defense here, so we've placed her just in range of the first pirate to bait him away from the others. With the Rainbow Potion and the Taurus Shard, Marth has slightly more defense than Ogma. That makes the second pirate target Ogma completely oblivious to the fact that the third pirate could have killed Marth if they had just focused their attacks. I realized that I forgot to dump a vulnerary in the convoy for Marth during preps, so I have no choice but to convoy warp one over using this Thief's Armor Slayer. I guess that Jelly Belly can take this one as well. Okay, fine. Maybe I'll use Yu-Gi-Oh! Chris has spent nearly every player phase using his wrist axe to attack, but that's because he was never in position to attack anyone from one range. I put Marth into a fairly sticky situation here, being wide open to 2 enemies that could easily destroy him. He's not even full health. Luckily, Marth's Knight in Shining Luck base is here yet again to bait the Hand Axe Pirate into going for a 2% crit. Yes, I literally brought Medeus here to cover a fort. He's probably not getting deployed again, so enjoy your 5 turns of fame, buddy. Marth and Chris would both have easily died if these last 2 enemies had any notion of teamwork. FE12's predictable AI is just so enjoyable to play around. Sirius did not have to crit here, but this boss kill is pretty unreliable and it saves me a reset, so we take those. Mid-chapter save points are just such a great mechanic, by the way. It's so much more interesting than Divine Pulse. After finishing up some staff grinding that I don't know if I'll ever need, that's Chapter 4 completed in 5 turns. I'll see you next time.